All right, good morning. Today is July 31st of 2024, and this will be, once again, the daily previous day's review as well as the daily outlook for today. So, um, yesterday I was expecting a bullish day, and obviously we didn't get that. And once I realized what was happening, I was able to switch my bias down to bearish and was able to catch a pretty good move. But let's go ahead and go over why my my outlook failed. So yesterday I was expecting for price to draw higher into this SIBI over here because I expected these lows to act as relative equal, actually these highs to act as relative equal highs, but obviously once this high was broken last Friday, I believe, yeah, no, I think it was Monday, um, and price did not break this high going into that day as well. That consists of SMT. I wanted a higher draw of manipulation, not just this tiny narrow sweep here. So that's what caused me to be bullish bias, and obviously the my weekly bias was for price to trade into the SIBI and then draw lower and then close down here or draw into here and close wherever it wants to close at the end of the week. And obviously we are getting that currently. Uh, so this is Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. This is just like 1800 to like 1900, I believe. Um, So yeah, my bias though correct. I did expect for a higher run into these areas before price wanted to draw lower. Same thing here. I wanted price to draw into this area before it drew lower, and obviously that's not what happened. This is the high, and then yesterday we get displacement. Same thing here. Yesterday we did displacement, and it does make logical sense that price did draw lower because we do have a intermediate term low here, intermediate term high here, intermediate term here, long term high here, and then we get the break displacement lower. So let's take a look at the hourly. Intermediate term high here, price sweeps both of these highs and then draws lower. Price creates an intermediate term high here, short term high here. Price sweeps this high here and then displaces lower. I was actually expecting for price to reverse and draw higher here, but obviously that didn't happen. Same thing here. Um, Same thing here, intermediate term high or long-term high, whichever one. Actually, this is an intermediate term high. Then we draw higher, price does not break above, creating SMT. And because there's SMT, the likelihood of this one being the stronger of the two increases. And so we get an intermediate term high here, long-term high here, intermediate term high here. Price displaces lower. Then price comes back up, does not sweep these highs, and then draws lower, displaces lower. And so that's what happened yesterday. But again, I was expecting a reversal in these areas here for then price to sweep these highs, and then we get displacement lower. So the fact that this manipulation here and here are not as crazy as this one, or maybe even this one where we get the break above, an aggressive break above, tells me that price may want to, I'll go over that later. And so, sorry. So on at the 10 o'clock macro, I did take a dumb trade here, and it was just retarded. And as soon as I took it, I was like, yeah, let me take it off. And I actually ended up taking it off for a 1.25 point loss. And then price swept the high here, the short-term high to the left on the 1 hourly, on the hourly, and then price started to displace lower. I did want to get in here, but obviously price did not draw that. And so I should have taken this as a breakaway gap. Then here, price displaced lower, and this is where I should have gotten in. Actually, not here, because I do like to see displacement lower on the short time frame, on the short-term high. And so this would have been my entry had I been bearish biased. But because I was bullish biased, I waited for price to sweep these lows here. And I think no, just this lows here, go into equilibrium of this whole up move, and so I started seeing price. Okay, it's acting kind of weird, um, and so we get a draw lower. We had already displaced, broken these lows here, and so that's a sweep of the higher time frame. Then we create this breaker here, and then we get this sweep on the lower time frame as well. Price displaces higher, closes above this inverse here, closes above here. And I call this in a CISD. Now, this should have been an indication that price was not as strong, because I would have wanted at least for price to close kind of like these two here, where you have a tiny wick, but still strong. Um, but that's hindsight. Anyways, I did end up taking it along here. Price rejected, closed below constant encroachment here, and I actually ended up covering. I think it was around here somewhere, because I wanted price to close above this inverse here, this gap here that I wanted it to change into an inverse. And so as soon as price got it back up here, I added again. As soon as price broke this high here and immediately rejected, I noticed these three drives here, and that's what's called the three drive pattern. As soon as I noticed that, I went ahead and covered my position, and I actually ended up break even. Actually, more than break even. More than break even, because I even made back the original loss that I had made up with that stupid play here on ES. So once I realized this three drive pattern, I went ahead and closed it. I think I closed it up here somewhere. Yeah, I think I closed it right up here somewhere. And so that was it for me. That was it for me. For the 10 o'clock macro, I realized that I probably should have gotten in here, because once I realized that I was offside, I was like, all right, let me come back for the 11 o'clock macro, because I was expecting for this maybe to be the consolidation. We get one more sweep, and then we get the drive higher. So as I come back, I realized that we have already drawn below extreme discount. If you set the dealing range from here to this high, extreme discount was here, and we swept through those. So I come in for 11 o'clock macro, and I look at the 5-minute. The 5-minute has a couple of wicks here, and I expect, yeah, the 5-minute has a wick here, bearish candle here with a gap right here. So whenever you have something like that and price is heavy or strong, it's okay to look for an opportunity to get short or long. So once price displayed lower here, I realized, okay, I'm offside, so I need to switch my bias to bearish. And so I wait for price to sweep this high on the 5-minute. Once price does that, I zoom in and I look for something. I look for displacement lower. I see this high get put in. Price sort of displaces lower, so I put in the gap here. Price draws higher above that, closes above this, but does not break this high. Then price once again displaces lower, causing a change in the state of delivery and on the 1-minute. And I get in right here and right here. And once I get in, my stop is right here, because I look at this as an intermediate term high. And if you are correct on your bias, the intermediate term high should not get broken. Anytime you have an imbalance on the higher time frame, that imbalance, once it gets rebalanced, should turn into an intermediate term high, and that's what happened here. So I get in some here, and I start looking for price to draw lower into here. Once price draws lower into here, I cover. And now I should have held on to some, but this was enough for me, 60 points each, and I was able to get that. So in the afternoon session, I noticed that price draws higher, but I do still believe that we are drawing lower. So I wait for price to develop some sort of high. And the reason why I went short, but not as strong, was because I expected price to do one more run into equilibrium. Here we just took a liquidity pool. So if we take a liquidity pool high, then we should draw back into equilibrium. We didn't, because equilibrium is actually right down here. So once I realized that price is drawing lower, possibly into equilibrium, I look for an opportunity once again here on ES. Actually, no, on ES we saw the same thing. So on ES we get a break right here doing the 1500 macro. We get a break above here, but here on NQ we don't, right? We displace lower, but we do not break below this low. I get in right here, cover into this low here, still above equilibrium. And so that was a pretty good 20-30 point win, I think. And then one side notice, actually after 1530 is usually when you get the price draw into equilibrium, and that is when usually the low of day gets put in. And so that's why we get this huge move. I did see this happening, and I wanted to get here so bad, but I had already had pretty good wins off of the morning. Actually, no, not there. Off of the morning short, then another short here, momentary short. But 60 points per contract. That's really good. And here I only had like 20 points per 20 points per contract, around that, I believe. And so that's it for this day. So let me go ahead and delete all of this stuff. It's not needed anymore. So my plan for today, I do believe that price did trade higher here. Let's go ahead and get rid of all of these. I don't delete these until the next day, and that's mainly to just show my previous day's price action. Let me make sure I deleted everything. Okay, so my target for the weekly objective are these lows here. This is main sell side here because this is extreme premium of this dealing range. So we should get a draw into here, because then this is right above consequent encroachment of this dealing of this weekly order block here. Same thing here. I do expect price to draw below equilibrium here. I don't expect price to break this low, same as this low, and that to me would be SMT confirmation enough for price to then start drawing higher. But today I'm expecting, we do have equal lows down here, so I would like for price to trade into an imbalance to rebalance the sell side inefficiency and then draw lower. If price draws higher and closes above these areas, then I will look to enter up here somewhere. Actually, if price has been hovering above here pre-market during the Asia London session, closing above these areas, closing above these imbalances, yep, right here. Okay, so we do have this imbalance that I'm looking at right above equilibrium of this range. Actually, darn it. Yep, here we go. Okay, so I'm looking at this dealing range here. I would like for price to draw higher, but the only thing I'm looking for is, because here we have this liquidity pool, so if price is still bearish, then price should have respected this area to then draw lower. Here I'm looking for price to draw into this imbalance and then draw lower. If it happened overnight and price is drawing down here, then I'm offside and I'm not looking for any entry, because I do like these relative equal lows. If price violated these imbalances overnight and closed above here, then I will be looking for continuation into the upside. Same thing here. If price did violate these imbalances here, then I will look for price to draw into these highs, because again, the manipulation of these up moves is not as crazy as I had expected. But then again, I have been wrong. I was wrong yesterday, so we'll see what happens. But anyways, let's go ahead and connect to data and see where price why is it not showing? You know what, let's delete this. Let's just start off brand new once again. Yeah, I do believe overnight price did draw higher, but I'm not sure what's going to happen. So let's go ahead and connect. Today we do have Meta, and Meta is the only notable tech company that's reporting. Although we do have a lot of other, I think phone companies are reporting and all that stuff. But I will be looking for only one trade during the 11 o'clock, during the 10 o'clock macro. Only the 10 o'clock macro because we do have FOMC at 1400, and I'm gonna be paper trading that one. I'm not gonna trade real cash for that one because um, though I'm able to read price action, the volatility will be high, and I'm not willing to risk that, especially if I have a down day, red trade for the 11 o'clock macro. So let's see how price traded overnight. Oh, I can take this out. All right, there we go. Oh wow. Okay. All right. So I guess I was right. All right. So we are getting that move that I wanted. Okay. So I'm looking for price to trade into this area here. Like I said yesterday, I'm looking for price to trade into this area and then draw lower. Because, like I said, I do want the manipulation to be strong. I want the manipulation to make it look like the price is just going to take off to the moon, uh, causing a lot of buyers, and then I want those buyers to get swept aggressively, and that's where I look to change. We do have two drives here, so if price does reject this area, I will be looking for a third drive into these lows, and it might not happen today. I think it will happen during FOMC where price sweeps these highs and then draws lower. So I'll be looking at that. So let's get rid of this. Okay. All right. So I'll be surprised if we put in the high of day today during the morning session. Let's go ahead and disconnect from data. That way I can do my. All right, there we go. All right, so we violated all these areas. I'm gonna keep this one here, but I'm gonna switch it to an inverse because this is the type of price action or the type of setup that I like if I were to look at an inverse. No, not that one. Let's go ahead and delete this one. The funny thing is, I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people that are short at the moment on options because they believe that this was displacement. Um, yeah, they believe that this was displacement. And so they had expected some sort of rejection up here and then a draw lower. That's going to suck for them when they open it because if you took out some options overnight here and held on to that, you would have been good if you had covered into this area. Same thing here. You would have been good if you would have covered into this area. But now you're way underwater, so you might as well let those options go because I do believe that we run all of these lows today. Because down here we do have relative equal lows. Here, kind of relative equal lows with the other low down here. So it does make sense. Uh, this is extreme discount of the actually extreme premium of the daily dealing range. So I do expect prices to keep drawing lower into equilibrium on daily. Um, let's take a look at the 4 hour. Okay. So on the 4 hour, I do like this area here. And we do have this bigger order block, but when you have such a wide range, it's you all you got to do is just zoom in from the highs to the lows, from the higher time frame to the lower time frames, to get a better understanding of price. There's a gap down here, a tiny gap down here, but as you can see here, we have an aggressive up move. So I will use this gap here, and that's how you zoom in, creating a more clearer picture. All right, so now that we have that, the current dealing range is from this high to this high, this low to this high, same thing here, from this low to this high. But I'm not going to use that. I'm going to use this dealing range here, the down move here. This is the displacement. So that's what I'm looking at right now. Same thing here. I'm looking for this displacement lower. This is the true displacement lower. We do have a change in the state of delivery on the 4-hour here, so I would expect for price to respect this area and then draw higher. Let's take a look at the 15-minute. I'm not looking at the 1 hour's dealing range because again, I want the lower time frame dealing range to get violated. And of course, we don't have anything here either. Nothing here either. And again, that's because price really is bullish. Yeah, this would have been a really good play. So we have expansion overnight. We have expansion overnight, and that gives us an indication that we might get. Okay, that gives us indication that we might be the price is setting up for a seek and destroy type of day, meaning that the highs and lows will get swept. So yeah, the highs and lows will get swept, creating a what's the word? Creating a consolidation, and then during the 1400 FOMC meeting, is it FOMC? What is it exactly? Yeah, it's FOMC statement. So no trading at 1400. No trading at 1430. At 1430 is when you start looking for the sweeps and where price is going. So I kind of have a higher time frame idea that I want price to consolidate here, maybe create some equal highs, price to sweep into that at 1430 or 1400, displace lower, create some sort of imbalance, and then for me to target that imbalance to get short so I can target these lows. So that's the idea for 1400. But again, at 1400, I'm not trading real cash. I'm gonna paper trade that one. But going into the morning, I do want a sweep. I do want a sweep of the lows, and on the 60-minute, I do like this area, and it's possible the price may hold this area here because price is really strong. So, but I'm not gonna highlight this one yet because the hour hasn't finished. It doesn't finish until 10 o'clock. So for the time being, I'll hold on to this one, which is, I guess you can say around 60% of this range. Let's take a look though. Yeah, it's about 60%. Well, actually, no. If price draws higher and then comes back into here, I will expect for this area to hold. Same thing here. I'll expect for this area to hold above equilibrium here of this dealing range, of the dealing range here. Um, yep, here it is. Okay, so for the New York session, I would like for price to draw into this area and then draw higher. Let's take a look here. Is this it? All right. Let's look at the 15-minute. Uh, 15. 845, geez. All right. Okay, so price really is going nuts. Okay, so that's it for now. Again, I don't see a dealing range up here, so I will be losing using the higher time frame dealing ranges. Let's go to the 5 minute to see if maybe there's something on the 5 minute. All right, so on the 5 minute, uh, we do have something here and here. Okay, so I'll use this lower time frame dealing range to gauge price. If price pulls back into this area, I will look for price to reverse in this area. This one is much closer. So I will look for price to okay. So I will look for price to violate these areas, violate these dealing range, trade into here, and then draw higher. Not necessarily market open. I'm not sure if we get it at market open, but I don't know. Who knows? We might. Same thing here, market open, midnight open. Um, since ES is the strongest of the two, and we just did sweep the liquidity pools, I don't know. I'm not sure if we get a draw down into this area. It would be it would still be nice for this for both of these to get violated. But again, I do want to see a reversal pattern. I do want to see a reversal here since we are bullish, and I do want price to draw into extreme discount, extreme premium for them to catch a draw lower. If none of this happens, then I'm hands off. Again, I'm looking for the 10 o'clock macro, 10 o'clock macro play, and that's it. I'm not looking to trade for 11 or 12, none of that, because I do believe price will settle, consolidate going into that day. If we get maybe a draw higher, like maybe into this area, and then we draw lower, then that's fine too. I'm not opposed to taking I'm not opposed to taking a short, but that would be highly what's the word? Uh, that would be unwise unless I see a setup like yesterday. Now, again, in hindsight, this this gap actually it's on the 1 minute, but the gaps that weren't filled up here, uh, those were breakaway gaps. And when you have breakaway gaps that don't get filled, then you have to assume that price is heavy and the price will draw lower aggressively, and that's what happened. And thankfully, I got in. Oh, this was the 5 minute I was talking about. Yeah. Was it this one or this one? Oh yeah, it was this one, right? Yep, it was this one. Price created these highs into this gap here, and I got in right here and covered into these areas. So we'll see what happens today. I'm not sure yet what happens. I would like again, I would like a sell-off into these areas and then for price to draw higher, but I won't know nothing until the 10 o'clock macro. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep that here. So I'll be back in about 15 minutes. Let me draw on my journal. Not draw, write on my journal. one thing I did forget, I might have mentioned it, but I don't remember, so I have to make sure that I did mention it. Um, this whole up move has no sweeps on the higher time frames. So this whole up move is low resistance liquidity runs, same as this area here. We do have sweeps here on the 5 minute, obviously, but 5 minutes is lower time frame. So just as just as aggressive as the up move was, I think the down move will be just as aggressive as well, because again, FOMC is one of those types of days where the volatility is just insane, and you're better off trading with one or two contracts, micros or whatever, depending on your risk management. So yeah, I'll keep that in mind. We do have a 4 hour breaker, which could be a 4 hour unicorn. But again, my draw are still the lows, so I'm going to stick to that bias. The only way I'll switch my bias is if we get the displacement higher going into these highs up here. And again, that will happen after 1400 if it does. Um, yeah, so that's why I expect to paper trade for the afternoon trades. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I don't, I wouldn't want to, I wouldn't want to be trading short if price sweeps only, if price only draws up to this area and then draws lower. So yeah, I'm just gonna leave it as is, and only trade during the 10 o'clock macro. But because yeah, we do have this unicorn set up here. But with NQ, I'm looking for a 3 drive pattern. With ES, I'm looking for a sweep of that pattern, sweep of these lows. Uh, The fuck? Oh shit. uh, all right, I'm back. Okay, so um, we do have the monthly close today. Um, yeah, the monthly is closing today, so let's take a look at the weekly. Actually, no, down here, because right now we are up here, I believe. Yeah, we're up here somewhere. Same thing here. We're up here. So let's take a look at the monthly and see what we would look like, what it's gonna close like. Here it is. Okay, so so right now we're up here. So we do have a somewhat tiny green body candle on the monthly. Same thing here. Still red, but I do think we close down here on the monthly. Same thing here. I do think we close down here on the monthly. And then we wick into this order block. We wick into this order block, and then we draw higher going into the August, September months. Um, so yeah, that's what I'll think about today, depending on where price is here when I connect back into the charts. Mhm. Let's go ahead and delete this. This is consequent encroachment of this gap. I can actually remove this here already. Yeah, consequent encroachment here. This is, what is this? Sometimes I add things and I forget what they are. What is this? Okay, yeah. This is consequent encroachment of this weekly gap here, and I believe this is sell side liquidity. So then, yep. Okay, all right, I'm ready. Okay, so again, I would like for price to come into this area so I could start to target the highs. I do like NQ better than ES because NQ has yet to sweep those highs. So I would like for price to come into this area and draw higher. Now, the only thing about this is that I'm not gonna say I'm not expecting, but the move lower does seem a bit too far fetched, especially on a day where the FOMC is being released. And when that happens, you don't, though you expect volatility right off the open and going into the 10 o'clock session, I don't expect that much of a move. So if we just come into this area, then I'm staying out. Same thing here, I'm staying out. uh, I would like I don't know. I would like for price to just continue drawing higher. And if I don't end up taking a trade today, then I was thinking that if I do end up taking something for FOMC, what I am going to do is I'm just going to take one micro because again, I do believe, especially during FOMC, we do have massive runs, and if I'm able to catch this whole move, that gives me about 100 point, win on either one of these, and 100 points on a micro is pretty big. So on ES, on NQ, I don't know, maybe 300 points on NQ, 700, 300. Oh no, that's nearly 600 points. Yeah, that's more than enough. So yeah, that's what I'll look for. Let's go ahead and connect to data here because we are getting close to the macro. And let's see how price drew. All right, let's see where we're at. Okay, great. All right, so we are drawing lower. We are drawing lower. I do need to fix this up. We did draw into equilibrium here. Same thing here. We did draw into equilibrium, but we didn't draw into that high. Okay, so this is extreme discount. Okay, that's telling. We swept this high. Let's take a look at the 1 minute. Yeah, let's take a look at the 1 minute. Okay, I might be just in time for it. Okay, displacement lower. Okay, let's go ahead and take one contract. I really like this one. Darn it, where is it? Where is it? Where is it? All right, there we go. Obviously not yet. I want to see if this is the intermediate term high. I want to see this create a gap. So let's just watch. I want a gap to be created without sweeping this low. And let's look at this right here. This is changing the state of delivery for me. If we sweep this high, then displace lower, then that would be even better. Because I do like to see like a quick sweep of a liquidity pool before price draws lower. And let's see, on ES we have SMT. All right, I like ES better, although we are at NY open. Okay, so we do have a gap up here, but I don't expect this gap to get swept. All right, I'm gonna take it now. Oh no, I ended up taking a. All right, let's just leave it there. Let's see what happens. If we draw into this area, then I'm gonna take it off because I don't like that. I don't like my entry. I actually um, I sold lower than I had expected. And my first target would be here if I end up if this trade ends up working out, because here we do have a change in the state of delivery. Actually, oh man, not again! Don't tell me I made the same mistake again. Yeah, if price closes above here, then I got to get out because I don't like that. Let's see. Yep, I'm gonna get out. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, yesterday we had something similar. So I do want to see a gap get drawn here instead of just jumping in blindly. I do want to see a gap get drawn. If a gap gets drawn, then I'll look to get in. This one seems more promising. If price stays below 50% here. Yeah, so this one, ES I like better. So let's just keep watching here. I only lost 4 points on this one. And obviously my first target profit will be this low, followed by the other lows. Yep, that's why I'm glad I took it off, because there's really no entry. I mean, unless you enter here, but for me, it's a lot safer to enter on the second displacement. If we start closing above here, then that will be it for me. Yeah, if we start closing above this area, then that means that this setup is not right. Same thing here. We already started closing above this area here, so we might draw higher. If you're an inverse type of player, uh, then this would be the entry to get long to target these highs here. If price sweeps this high, then the play is still there, because that just means that if this high is swept, that's just another confirmation of SMT. As you can see here, we traded into constant encroachment here, so I'm just waiting. All right, let's get ready on the 1 minute here for ES, because I do like ES better. We did close above here, but since my bias is short-term bearish, okay, so we do have something here. I want price to close down here. Perfect. 10 more seconds. All right, perfect. Okay, so I don't want this gap to get closed. No, don't close, please. So if this candle does not sweep this low, but leaves this gap here, my entry will be 63.75, 36.75. No. All right, so no entry. Nope, no entry. Okay, so no entry yet, because there is no entry. So staying away for now. Damn, it sucks that it didn't leave it. Yeah, we might get one more sweep, and it does make sense because this right here would be the short-term low, This would be the intermediate term high. Yeah, actually no, this would be the short-term high followed by intermediate term high here. So I would like for this high to get ran, and I would like for E and Q to run these highs. I do like the up move. The up move is lethargic. If people are in this one, they're very emotional right now because price has been zigzagging, and I don't like that. I like for fast price delivery. So I'm just going to wait until we see displacement lower. Okay, so and we are still closing below this area here, even though we wicked into this area. So if price displaces lower, then this becomes the intermediate term high, the order block. Okay, all right. So we're getting something here. It's still holding above this inverse here. Still holding above this inverse here. So we might still get that move, that sweep here. We are holding above 15-minute order block, but I won't warrant that 15-minute order block, an actual order block, until uh, not the next 15-minute candle, but the one following after that. If that one creates a gap, then that's a 15-minute order block. So not looking at that. The 1 hour on NQ closed bullish with a tiny wick, and it looks like NES is about to sweep these highs. Okay, so now we have SMT, and I would like for the reversal to happen here. If it doesn't happen, then I'm okay with that too. Just no entry whatsoever. I can delete this. Still nothing. And it looks like we're about to sweep that high. We might not. And the fact that if we don't sweep this high, then that leaves this area as relative equal highs. So that's telling. We have about 7 minutes until the macro is over. Still still within reason. Okay. All right. So NQ did that. And we are respecting bullish PD arrays, disrespecting bearish PD arrays. But we'll see what happens here as the candles close. All right, so I'm completely hands off. There's no reason to get in. I'm looking at these new highs as long-term highs. So if I decide to take a trade, it won't be until I see the intermediate term high on the lower time frames. I don't like that it's leaving wicks at the lows. It's not making a case for me. I would like flat bottoms, not bottoms with wicks. And again, I did expect seek and destroy today, so we'll see what happens. At least until the FOMC statement. Four minutes till the macro is over. All right, we get a sweep of that. This could be the breaker. Technically, this right here is the dealing range now. So, but I'm just gonna leave it. This is the dealing range up here. Let's move it up here just in case. Let's see if I see something right here. I don't see any. Yeah, I don't see anything. So I'm just gonna leave it. We still have 3 minutes, so the displacement might still occur. But we are drawing higher on ES, on NQ, I mean. Again, we don't need to see SMT. We don't need to see SMT on it just to be right on our trade idea. Although it's advised to have it, as long as your bias is correct and you have enough conviction, that's all you need really. And I'm only staying on until 10:15. If nothing occurs until then that means price is unwilling to draw lower. And that would mean that price is heading up to extreme discount up here. I don't think this void gets filled. Yeah, I don't think the void gets filled. I do think, at least not today. Same with NQ. This void, I don't think this void gets filled. This void. Okay, yeah, I'm not seeing anything. There's no reason to have gotten long on this areas at all. I don't see any setup. Let's see, maybe here, but still, I don't like that type of entry. Though, let's take a look here. Uh, yep. Okay, so it does make sense the price drew higher into this area. Okay, that's fine. Not this one, but actually not even this one either, because this is the high that I was aiming for. Let's take a look here. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the 10 o'clock macro. I'm not going to trade anymore. Where was the high over here? Nope. And this one, nope, not either. Because it did break this high, and if you were to enter, it would have been this high here. So so yeah, there's no setup on either one of these. Even with from this high to this high, it's still above equilibrium here. So yeah, no play for me. Not for the morning session, and I'm not going to be trading during the 11 o'clock macro either, because by that time we'll probably just have some sort of consolidation. Again, nothing's going to happen until the real move won't happen until the 14:30 speech by Jerome Powell. But yeah, and I will be taking just paper trading on that one. If I have strong conviction on an actual setup, then I will take a trade on micros with yeah, with just one micro. Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. So I'll see you tomorrow.